Tervehdys, Laura.
Terve Otto.
And again, welcome our dear listeners. I was trying to turn my head and watch to the camera a little bit to another episode of Spirit of Sauna podcast, where, we will have an interesting discussion about saunotus, about the essence of sauna, and today we will talk about forest and nature in general.
Definitely, because sauna is the temple of the forest. So there is really no going around it. That sauna begins from the forest.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've spoken about this now already
Many times.
a few times. That really sauna takes you to the temple where you really have sort of the essence of the forest there, and you can really, how would I say, without entering the forest, enter into the forest.
Yeah, indeed. And very actually it's been sort of a long time waiting as an episode title and a sort of a theme. And especially now I think it's relevant because we've had our retreat coming up in June, our forest sauna retreat. And sort of, I always think about these episodes also that we're sort of building I would say the knowledge base or even the experimental, like experience-based layer of the saunotus through these talks, because there's so much. Like last episode we talked a lot about the mind, and it might have sound quite philosophical to some people, but in essence we're actually just talking about the sort of roots of our practice. So we never can detach it from our experience, but also from sort of the wider angle of the wisdom traditions and their way of seeing the world, and we only try to use this kind of disgusting modern language to try to approach it. But in last episode we talked about the mythology in that sense, that it's this childlike sort of way, in the most positive sense, of making sense of the world. So not the typical analytical side, but more of the intuitive and sort of straight up like experience-based way of understanding the world. And forest, I think, is sort of a perfect example of how this kind of like experience-based practices start from not just like something that you can define, like, because nowadays a forest you can define it like a field. In Finland you have technical, you have a faculty in the university just dedicated on forestry and making technical definitions of what is a forest. But now of course, starting from this, I want to ask you, Laura, so we're talking about sauna beginning from the forest, but what is a forest?
Yes, well, that's a question that is very difficult to answer with words.
Yeah.
All words fall short, as when you really start. Let's just say that very often we in Finnish we could say that we sort of lose the forest looking at the trees. So
right.
we really
great saying, by the way.
it is. I don't know how it works in English. It really doesn't translate that well. But in Finnish you can really understand that in very often we have this problem that we try to reduce and categorize, and forest is something that is really like life itself. Maybe you can soon a little bit open the etymology of forest, and especially in the Finnish language.
But also in other, like Latin.
But maybe for me, if you just ask for me personally, what is a forest? First things that intuitively come to my mind is great teacher or great nature.
Yeah, right. Great teacher, yeah. I like that. Can you expand on that? Like, what do you mean, like great teacher?
Yeah, forest is, especially when we are talking in the sauna context, forest teaches you all, forest is a teacher that guides you to very practical depths of life. There you can really go and learn all the greatest lessons there. The wisdom of the sort of the ancient or what would be ikiaikainen, sort of eternal. That's eternal,
from the
but
depths of the eternal.
Sort of eternal in the sense that there is no time. You know, I don't know if eternal has that connotation that it is sort of beyond time beyond time. But forest speaks sort of that language, which is not restricted in words, and that is the teacher that reminds you of the really basic principles, basic patterns of life, and how these patterns, though they are sort of fundamental, but yet they're always ever changing and ever adapting.
But this is exactly this great teacher. I'm reminded of this one story from this sort of she's an old school hippie in the sense that she's done it for tens of years, and she has a lot of international guests as well, which are hippies. So and she was telling about this how she's so annoyed when they come to Finland and they go to just a regular, like what we call like a tree field, which is very in a symmetrical pattern. These trees are put up there, planted trees, in 40 years, 30-40 years, and now they're maybe 20 centimeters wide. And then these hippie guys would go there and they would, such a beautiful ancient forest, this is like speaking to me, and all of that. And she was saying, oh man, I'm so pissed off because they don't know anything, I always have to educate them and so on. But I think this is sort of the contrast, because she knows how forestry is done in Finland, and it's a sad statistic to say, but 99.8% of all of the forests in Finland are less than 100 years old. So we basically have cut all of our forests at least once in the last 100 years, and not just clear cutting. Since the 50s at least, you have the method of clear cutting everything, so you don't leave pretty much anything left, and then you plant new trees, and then in 40 years you have this 20 centimeter wide, like riuku we say in Finnish, is like wobbly, with these wobbly trees. So for this old lady who knows a lot about forestry and thinks it's a crime that what we have done to our forests, she would just sort of reflect this frustration of hers to the Finnish psyche and what we would be doing here to these poor hippies who just want to, just experiment with that. Like, how does it feel when I go and hug this? And they don't start to think like, no, this tree is not older than 40 years and, it's planted here. It's part of the wood fields, and they don't have necessarily even a personal relationship with that place. Like this older lady would have seen the old forest before it was cut down and all of that. So they would have this sort of childlike curiosity, because why? Most of these people would live in a suburb or in a city, or maybe even close to a forest, but maybe in a country like the UK or Germany, where the forests are, not that impressive anymore, except of if you Schwarzwald and so on. But like most of them are just mostly like parks. And then they would sense this sort of ancient land and all of that, which is true, because Finland is one of the oldest lands in the world in the sense of our granite, which is 2 billion years or 3 billion years old. So I think this would be the contrast. Like forest, I think when we look at the forest, not from a technical perspective, it's always an experience. So somebody could say from I don't know how much is 2 acres are forest here. They'll say this is nothing. But for me, as an experience, it's my forest. It's like, for me it's huge, because every single like small place has it's full of meaning and all of that. So yes, if we're scientific minded, we can do this kind of disgusting kind of word place of what defines a forest and how many trees do you have. But this is exactly what the saying says. Then we're just looking at the trees, not the forest. And then you can be this hippie guy or a child who goes to the forest like, wow, so beautiful, so many opportunities, and I can sense the ancient land here and all of that. So I think our sort of relationship with the forest is either like goes to either of these directions, mostly, at least in Finland. What do you think?
Definitely. And it is a fact that if you remove all the elders, it is a different kind of wisdom and experience, 100%. So no doubt that there is something that is lost when we cut down the old forest. It is the same thing if we hide all our elders into some old age homes and don't take any contact with them. So that something is lost, something that comes only by years spent expressing life.
Yeah.
So that is definitely true. But then something that sauna has deeply taught me is that really when you are even in a city sauna.
Yeah.
And you bring one twig, one branch of a tree, and that Löyly, the spirit of the sauna, the warmth, the moist, everything, how it sort of, it's like a alchemist process where they the tales about the alchemist, how they sort of do their how would I say, cooking process.
Yeah, they have the athanor where they put the elements and all of that.
And sort of that quest for getting the cold out. The gold.
Yeah.
Cold.
Yeah, in sauna you want to get the cold out.
Yes, but gold is what they're aiming for. Yeah. But the essence, the essence of the being, and this is what happens in the sauna when you bring that branch of a tree, and sort of you bring forest into your sauna. It's the moist and the heat there really sort of. The plant goes through this sort of like an alchemist process and a cooking process, and there it reveals its sort of essence. The spirit of the plant starts talking, of course, without words, and there you realize really what you were describing, that you don't need to really be calculating. Oh, this is just a branch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And what? How much chemicals can I get out? And is it now? Blah blah blah.
Yeah. And exactly. Not either way. Not like how many milliliters of this and that, and not also that it has to be from 1,000-year-old tree. Yeah.
No. None of those things really matter when we sort of stripped out all this. And just the spirit is there expressing, and that's how I see the forest sort of teaching us, revealing us this greater nature, this that is beyond time and space, and allowing us for a moment to step out of this world of restricting ourselves to the trees, and sort of just experiencing the forest, nature, and the essence of it.
Indeed. And for example, for me, the forest of Sipoo is a great example. Yeah, because the shocking fact is that I still cannot believe this. I've had to ask a couple of times from the person who told me this story. But about 100 years, a little over 100 years ago, they needed to build some fortresses in the Russian side. And the Russian, governor or whatever, ordered some, I think it was like a couple of thousand Chinese people to cut every single tree from Sipoo. So all of these trees that we see here in the national park and everywhere have been cut down 100 years ago. And he would tell the stories about how it's crazy, because they would have 4 people who would come to cut the tree like from the shoulder height. So when the tree falls down, they would all run to 4 directions and one of them would be hit. And the rest, all of these, and the rest would get away, and the one person would go to the hospital, and the hospitals would be overflown with these Chinese forestry guys. But if this is true, I go to the national park and I really take like a hug a tree, and I feel the sort of pulse of the tree and all of that. But then it's 100 years old. It's not like an ancient youngster, right? Like
in the trees life, it's a youngster.
Yeah, the oldest trees we have in Finland about 1,000 years old. So definitely. And some even say that, for example, pine starts to mature. It takes about 200 years for it to actually be like mature, that have all the processes that it needs in place. So like, even I think the word that we have in Finnish, metsä, is kind of misleading, because it is our problem in sort of this. We always talk about this modern worldview, but the problem is a lot. It has a lot to do with the sort of definitions and the analytical approach, and even the start of using this word metsä, which is meds, is the original word. It actually comes from Latvia, so it's sort of a word that comes from the Baltics, and through actually the Baltic languages have borrowed it from Latin, and the word medium is actually the sort of root word for metsä. So something that is between two villages is a metsä. So that already is a sort of, you divide the forest from yourself. And I think, I don't know, it might be something like 1,000 years that we've been using this word. It has been the start of us sort of detaching ourselves from the forest. And the end point would be that, for example, I would have this, technical way of approaching the forest, or this purist way of approaching the forest. So I would say, I only want my forest nicely cut down and then replanted so that there's no trash. Like people say, there's trash in the forest, old forest, because the trees are giving all the, the leaves and
they're rotting away.
Exactly, all of that. And the other one would be that, I only want to experience a 1,000-year-old tree, and all of this, the rest of it is trash, and I think it's more about how we approach life itself. So for me, I think all life is precious. So I go to a city and I look at the concrete, and in between the concrete you see a small, plant growing, and it's like, yes, that is nature, that is forest for me. That is living, struggling but striving, still in the harshest conditions. And I think this is the most inspirational part. So then when you go to sauna, and like you said, you have the branch, it's already a testament to the sort of grit of the wildlife, that they can put up this blossoms and these branches and all of that. And maybe in saunotus you appreciate this, and that's part of the ritual.
Yeah, and really in Finnish we do talk about a lot about luonto. When we refer to when we are referring to metsä, or the forest, as more of this sort of wilderness, or actually like a life just expressing in different ways. And luonto in that way translates as nature, and also in English it is used similarly than in Finnish.
Right.
It refers to nature, but also it is sort of
our
the
nature.
Nature of someone, or nature of some place. And so I think this is maybe in the context of sauna more, it sort of helps the thought process more when we talk about nature instead of forest, because we easily lose the forest to the trees. But nature gives sort of a more lively connotation, and nature is exactly like you said. The beauty of nature is that there is between the concrete tiles there is that one little yarrow or dandelion leaf that just pushes out, and you're like, whoa.
It's incredible. Really.
And the beauty of it. And in nature there is not ideals, you can say there are, but there it's not measurable ideas, because nature all the time just finds sort of new balances and keeps harmonizing itself. And one thing that comes to mind when we talk about nature is this, like you mentioned, that how the Sipo forest for you is something special, because you live here. So obviously you are really connected to this nature. It sort of reflects your nature. And this is the teachings of the forest in the sauna that really, like, for example, when we have the international visitors in our forest sauna retreat, they go home very often very inspired from their own nature, and connecting to their own wherever they are from, because sauna and forest, they really sort of guide you into your nature and your surroundings, and harmonizing yourself with that, because forest is a great teacher, and it doesn't just randomly express in a certain way in a certain place. So here in the southern Finland, nature expresses in a very different way than in the northern Finland, let alone going to Mediterranean or somewhere else. So there is those basic principles that are always found, and what we really talk about a lot, for example, in our retreat. But then when you go home, you can sort of apply it and really connect to what is around you, because usually what you really need for your wholesome health is usually what is around you, exactly where you are. And nature is so wise, forest is so incredibly wise, that even then during different seasons, in the winter, we have plenty of evergreens giving us that that strength and that helping our lungs and lifting our moods and providing us exactly what we need. And when we look at different seasons, it's amazing how you realize that what you need is always there. But we are just, of course, like you said, we have come to think of forest something that is a resource or something to be used, and we like to have everything available at all times and from everywhere, and instead of sort of just letting go a little bit of the control and allowing the nature to sort of call.
And I want to circle back on what you said about the sort of almost like alchemical process that you do in a sauna environment. Because really, the branch that you use in sauna for your vihta, for directing the steam, the löyly, or something that people would like use as a sort of aromatherapy, even smelling and all of that. Nobody cares if you just live in the central London and you took it from your garden, or if you live in Schwarzwald and you get it for 1,000-year-old tree. Hopefully you don't do it, but it's better actually to take it from 30-year-old tree. Nobody minds. But the experience doesn't care about that. So the most important thing is to realize that you're using it as a part of a ritual, like we talked in the ritual episode. Is you organize the ritual around certain elements. And there's a sort of all of these parts of the ritual are sort of placeholders. So like here is the branch, here is the water for the löyly, here is the if you have a continuously heated stove, here is the fire, and all of that. So then just it's a good for your feeling, for your self-confidence and all of that. It's good that it's from a place that and you respect and all that, and when you go and pick it up, you also do some ritual and all of that, but it doesn't require that. And I think that's really interesting when it comes to these saunatus practices. Like last summer in the retreat, we had people from all walks of life. So you would have some people who would have a nice practice already. Maybe they did some Aufguss training or a similar kind of thing. Maybe they're interested in some kind of indigenous wisdom, where you maybe a sweat lodge or whatever. And then some people who just, I want to deepen my sauna practice, and that's the first time they use a vihta in their life. And then all of these people, by sort of ritualizing the use of these elements, sort of can gain some very like deep insights about their own nature. So it's not that you bring the nature to the sauna and that's sort of what you worship. I worship this branch, it's from 1,000-year-old tree or something. But you start to change as a person. So you start to understand that there's no divide between me and nature, or there is a divide, but it's artificial. And in the sauna, when you sort of, like we talked in the last episode, when you let go and you sort of fall down even to this what we call alinen in the Finnish mythology, the underworld, you get the wisdom from there, and then you can apply it by creating a sort of ritual space. And in that ritual space, it's the quality doesn't come from the exact branch, from the exact firewood that you use, from the exact water. The water can be chlorinated, the firewood can be a little bit damp and not the best, and the branch can be from the city street. And you can still have a very profound ritual where you can actually take these people deep into their own nature, and you can take yourself deep into your own nature. So I'm always kind of this kind of guy. I'm sort of also thinking about the sauna economy and all of that. Because the thing is that we create a smoke sauna here, and we created it with very little elements and not the best quality elements. And I take pride in the fact that it doesn't have to be like top notch always. I think that's the black belt saunatus is that you make do what you have. So it doesn't have to be an ancient forest or whatever next to you if you want to do this.
No, and I do always encourage people to sort of more than like taking that sort of rational calculating attitude into how to optimize my sauna ritual.
Yeah.
Rather than that, how to feel it. Feel it. And when sometimes we are in that situation that okay, our life is like this, and maybe I have my little patch of greenery just outside. Go there, see, there is some leaf that calls you, and that's very often already really a lot, because in the sauna we are in that we are harmonizing ourselves with the breath of life of cosmos itself. Every time we pour the Löyly, we are creating the spirit of life itself. We are sort of returning back into the origins of life of cosmos.
Right.
Every time we pour that Löyly, we
creating a soul in there.
Creating a soul, doing that ritual of how life began. So there we realize that even if we have that, it's a little continuous burning heater and not maybe ideal, and our rocks are what they are, and our water ladle is what it is, still we are doing that. So similarly, the plants that we bring, they represent the greater nature, as do actually, if we are quite honest, when we go and perform a sauna ritual, it's not really who of us is qualified. Not really any. So we are everything in the sauna represents that greater nature, that sort of that macrocosmos that we can then, as a microcosmos, harmonize ourselves with.
Right.
And each plant, each gift of the forest provides sort of a different aspect to this macrocosmic harmony that we try to then sort of align.
Yeah, exactly. So the details are not the most important thing.
External details.
External details, right. So the most important thing is about if you want to be a saunottaja, the process is about preparing yourself. And when you prepare yourself, you learn the other things, so how to prepare the plants and all of that. But I think the most important hindrance to being a real sauna practitioner, like a practitioner, is if you become cynical, if you start to think and this can happen in so many ways. You can become cynical in that way that, we talked so many times about this, how in Finland these engineer-minded atheists who are definitely part of the sauna culture, they're welcome. But important part. But when it comes to our communication, sometimes there's this clash. It's you don't know anything because nobody in the modern times sings runes in the sauna or something like that. That's one part of becoming quite cynical about the practice. But there's another way as well. And this is because we mentioned these hippies, for example. I think it's also cynical in that sense that you would have to remove yourself completely from the process and think sort of the outer nature as being the wise teacher, and I'm not part of it. I'm just this small little creature here, and there's this big nature, and I that's it. Because there's a very important sense of agency when you're doing this kind of saunatus practice. It's because I think seamless is a good word that I really enjoy using it, because the idea is to slowly learn that how we're absolutely not separated from our surroundings in the most absolute terms, because experience of that is really important, but also knowledge of that is important. For example, mushrooms. There's actually mushrooms in our tongue, in our digestive system. When we breathe, when we inhale different kinds of fungi. When we exhale fungi. So just as one example, we're completely interconnected with outer nature seamlessly. So I think the process is about cultivating this seamless sort of interaction with the surroundings. And in this sense, yeah, you can just I can imagine like the poorest setting that you could imagine to be doing a saunatus is that you come to a public sauna after hours, nobody has cleaned it up, you know, the fire is already out, there's just a tiny drip of water and there's some branch there, and what you do is like, yes, you know, it's not ideal, I'm not here to, you know, make a, you know, perfect conditions, I cannot do it now, but with these elements, you know, I can be this, yeah, alchemist. I like the idea is that, you know, like the alchemist starts to huff and puff in the athanor and start to, like let's put the process on. And then you become sort of the firewood, you become the water, you become the branch, and they become like an extension of you. So this is the ideal situation, not the exterior sort of like how it looks, how it smells, all of this. This is just like the topmost layer. But the most important layer is the layer inside of us and our own nature. Yes. What we're changing is actually changing our nature, how we actually interact with the world.
As in the Finnish tradition it is, before you start any kind of important task, be it performing a treatment or a sauna ritual, you always have to arise your nature.
Yeah, right.
You do the in Finnish, this is now direct translation from, but we sort of call upon the nature to arise from this hole. It's a very bad translation, but the point is that yes, we do realize that we give our hands for the nature to work with, and we give our mouth for the nature to speak with.
Right.
And this is very concrete. Today I was again blessed enough to get to heat the smoke sauna, and there, when you are heating the smoke sauna, you really feel this in your flesh and bones.
Yeah.
You are feeding the fire with the wood, and you are realizing that if forest doesn't give its ultimate gift, the wood itself, there is no way I can feed this fire. But also, if I am not there putting the logs into the fire will not get fed. And if I'm not there to pour that water, and if I am not there to sing that song, if I'm not there to wave my vihtas, you know, so this seamlessness that you were describing very beautifully, it becomes like a really concrete experience. How you realize that there is no difference between me and nature expressing. I am like extremely important part and parcel of nature expressing in this whole web of life.
And this is like I think in my sort of spiritual journey, this has been the hardest lesson for me, and I think also the most radical one. And I think I get the most flack from this when I think in this podcast as well I've said it, but definitely when talking from the yogic worldview, which is full of this, is that the sort of everything happens for a reason and the world is blissful. And I just cannot overstate how radical and crazy that sounds to the modern mind. And of course, when I would look from this lens, I would be tempted to say, yeah, we ran out of wood just 3 days ago, you know. I just happened to, with my skills, you know, I'm quite good in procuring some wood. So I managed to get some you know 10 cords of wood in the and that's why we have the wood and so on. But the more I sort of experience, for example, the day-to-day life in here, and I'm again reminded of our January and February when I would come here, and this is complete chaos. Like everything is frozen and people are coming in 4 hours. So what to do? So the thing is, I start to do things, but then when I look back at that, like the whole procession, and especially from like if it's been like what has happened in the last year, or what has happened in the last 5 years or last 20 years, I started to notice that it wasn't me actually. It was just me letting go of control, of trying to sort of absolutely make everything interlock and work, because it never works like that. So it's more like and just as a practical thing, me letting go is me being quite a lot better person. Like me controlling is something that nobody likes, and I don't like it either. But like, for example, with the wood thing, I just let go. It's like, okay, we're running out of wood. I haven't been able to find any more. Yeah, okay, we probably could get some. We have some drying up. They've been the whole winter there outside. Probably doesn't work, but maybe it does. Let's see. And by letting go like that, I would notice, right, there was this one contact I didn't I would call this guy, and he said, I just happened to have 10 cords, just like this. So what are the odds, really? But this sort of letting go of what we thought defines us as our nature, what we are, is actually approaching what the nature really is and how he wants to speak. I don't want to even say it. It's like how nature wants to speak through us is not an it. It's us. So again, just expanding on the topic of what we talked last time about the analytical mind versus the sort of childlike intuitive mind, and we need both. And the analytic mind is the tool, but our true essence is somewhere beneath that. And I think, just from the experience point of view, when attending a sauna practice or doing a sauna ritual, that is where you can actually experience that. And then when you have sort of the theoretical framework of understanding this seamlessness, that it actually makes sense also to a rational mind. So you don't just have to believe, somebody says, you're seamlessly interacting with the world that is actually blissful and everything happens for a reason. It doesn't feel like anything. But when you actually feel that it's happening like this, then it's a lot easier when you also have the sort of, even I would say, theoretical background in how does it actually work. How can the world be like that everything happens for a reason?
And some people need more of the theoretical and analytical understanding, and some don't need it so much. The fact is that will not like we spoke, it is the tip of the iceberg, so we do understand that it will not move the iceberg. So in that way, but for some it is really, really important, and for everybody little bit important.
Right.
So 100% we have the beautiful rational mind, so let's not ignore it. Super important, but the true health happens below, I would say now. And that's again nature, sauna teaching us. And in the sauna, of course, forest does teach and speak always. So you just have to pause to listen. But in the sauna, because it is the temple of the forest, so it's forest is more, in its core, in its essence. Temple is a structure where we gather to dip into certain aspect very deeply. So that's why sauna is a very fruitful space to really dive into the essence and let go and really experience and feel the nature. And sauna is in that way beautiful temple that it's so sensual. It takes each and every one of your senses. And what is our nature? But our senses expressing. So sauna in that way is a very, how would I say, for the modern man, absolutely essential to be able to connect to nature. But it has been around so long that I think even the ancient man does agree.
Yeah, indeed. And there's two stories that maybe we could wrap up with that. Yes. But that I'm reminded of. One is that my friend was visiting here, and he had a wonderful weekend in the nature, in the spring forest, which is kind of like half in snow, half not, and then you can actually go and do ice fishing without a shirt, and everybody's wondering how on earth do we feel so good? And it's because of all the sun and all of that. Your mitochondria is booming, and he said they also had a mobile sauna, and there is this incredible technology that I love, that it's like a material that is light to carry, and you can even carry the stove in your back, and then you can put it anywhere and just have the best sauna experience. Because also the material is such that the wind is blowing under and you get the convection air and all of that. So it's actually technically a good sauna. But then he would come after this weekend on Sunday to our sauna, and he would sit there and it's like, I've been in a sauna every day for the past 3 evenings already, but now here I come to a temple. Like it feels so different because it's established. It's like robust, and it's standing there like it's like royal almost, the experience. And this is our experience in the smoke sauna, is that it is a temple in that sense also, that it's there. And I would think like, I hope I won't be there to see it, but that there would be like in 200 years. Maybe here's like high-rise buildings around. It's still there because it's made to last. So this temple sort of structure and the how we build it as a saunotus smoke sauna is meant to also like facilitate this idea of this emulates something that is forever. And even it's crazier for a smoke sauna, because no smoke sauna is forever. Like all of the smoke saunas, like my father's smoke sauna where he was born was burned down 5 years after that, so it's no more, and nobody built a new one. So it's also, this is really important aspect of it, that we have this dedicated space that is meant to be forever, so that you can do the rituals for, like, again, the Athanor, the alchemist's oven is meant to be forever. So that's one aspect as well. There's another story is about this book that I'm reading. It's a massive, it's 35 books actually, this one guy's life, and he's telling from the 20s or early 30s about how his father went kind of crazy, really, and they would invite this sort of tietäjä, or they said velho, to sort of practice the old ways, doing massage, having some herbal tea, and it was interesting because then the wife of this or the mother of this author was a cupping master. Like she also has a practice like this, but the husband is saying, not in a million years you will put those in me. Now you're a witch, don't give me that witch stuff. So it was interesting to read about how this person would approach it. And again, the thing is that there is a big temptation sort of to LARP these things, so that you're an accountant in your regular life, then you go to the sauna and do this really nice shaman who has this really beautiful clothing and whatever, and then you do these very mystical things and all of that, which is nice. I think for theater it's nice, for your art project it's nice, but when it comes to the real practice, it's just, I've been stunned again and again when I read these accounts from the 1920s and 30s. It's just how regular these people were. Like, for example, how good did they how well did they behave, have the kids around, when the kids are around, how they could play with them and tell stories and all of that. And how if somebody would be a little bit crazy, saying, I'm not gonna go into sauna with you, like he would be able to say, no, I just go with your son then, no worries. And just being regular, very just beautiful people,
human
beings. Yeah, right. Not this scary witches who have this. It's nothing like that, or
unrelatable, a little bit there,
eccentric and
on another level,
right,
or that have this halo
holy men and all that. And that's the sort of practicality that we always talk about. I think it comes to flesh in this, that whatever archive material we have about this, the last rune singers, the last saunottajas, the last herbalists of Finland, what we always hear is that how beautiful human beings these people were, how easy it is to be around them and all of that. And I think in a sauna, when you have the practice, it facilitates all of this, because people come out of the sauna relaxed, they have the blush in their cheeks, and they're talking nice stuff and having a herbal tea and just talking about life and all of that. And definitely also in our retreats I've experienced this. As the week progresses, or 2 weeks progresses, after 10 days, it's like, these are just so beautiful human beings, and sort of grateful to be part of the process of these people as well. So
It is. Yeah, and we are truly now happy again because we have these 3 different retreats in a little bit different times of the year, and each season has, of course, its own sort of attraction, its own, what's the word, sort of feel, to it. But summer and nature, forest is really, we've been talking about this. You've given some beautiful descriptions of this temple that we enter into, and in the summertime, this sort of blossoming and the what is the word when there is a lot of something? Blossoming and a lot ofness.
It's like it's almost overwhelming.
Overwhelming amounts, but there is some like bountiful amounts. Yes.
Right.
Of things. It does help you in this way to sort of let go of your analyzing, because the amount of different types of sensations, smells, sights, touches, for sounds. The forest sort of is quite overwhelming, and in the summer sauna, it is really blissful thing to really indulge in this.
Right.
In this. I'm losing the word what it is, but when there is a lot of it, there is one word that I'm looking for, but just meaning that there is a lot of everything. It is really,
it's bountiful.
There is no shortage of anything, and you can really play with all. Invite so many different plants and have every. Like arrange a big party
right,
in the temple.
Indeed.
So that's why I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too. And looking forward to summer. It's going to be only 3 months to midsummer, which is my favorite part of the year, probably the favorite part of every single Finnish person I know. And we survived another winter, and this time it was also meaningful for us. We completed the first full sort of cycle of these, or was it first or second? Second. Yeah. Anyways, but we again fulfilled a full cycle of these retreats, and the retreats, they're our way to mark sort of the changes of the nature. And changes of our nature as well. So I feel alive now. It's spring and the summer is just around the corner. So all right. Hey, lovely episode. And again, if you're interested in our retreats, go to saunatus.com. It's our website for that, or saunahealer.com. Again, like last episode we talked, we're maybe moving a little bit forward from Sauna Healer, and that episode about parantaminen is coming up.
Yes, we'll make it.
And again, like if you want us to travel to your place, we will travel for sure. So whether it's about running your sauna business, we can come and consult with that, but definitely when it comes to saunatus or healing in sauna, we travel as well. So and in all, we can always send an email to us and ask about tailored solutions to your
like you want to start arranging rituals in your sauna or something. Definitely,
yes, always possibilities. Happy to help always. And if you liked the episode, please do like our lovely friend Nick, hello to Nick, did and share in your stories, and so beautiful to hear all of your experiences about this journey we're on. So kiitos Laura.
Kiitos Otto, kiitos everybody.
Yes, kiitos, and thank you to all of you and all of us. So until next time.